shoulder. It couldn't be him. He always whistled to let her know he was coming. She crouched down amongst the branches of the fallen tree, hiding behind its leaves and shadows. She peered through the greenery, and her heart raced in despair when she saw who it was. The man was walking along the path that crossed behind the hollow. He stopped at the opening and stood for a moment with his hand raised to shield his eyes from the sun, looking out over the lake. He had taken off his jacket and was carrying it over his arm. The girl could see the braces pulled tight over his shoulders, the redness at the nape of his neck and its sinews, sweat glistening on his forehead, his thick, black hair. She held her breath. She did not move. Her heart thumped inside her chest. He was so close she could see the black mole on his neck, the individual hairs of his beard. She could smell him, even over the hot smell of the mud at the water's edge. If he took another step, he would be upon her. She braced herself, prepared for the worst, but then she heard a voice in the distance calling him. He hesitated, but the call came again, and this time he turned and went back the way he had come. She let out her breath and leaned back against the tree. He must have seen her walking towards the lake and followed her. What if he had been watching her all along? What if he had seen her admiring the pendant? Could he have seen it? Might he have realized what it was? No, she told herself. No, even if he had seen her sitting on the trunk, he would have been too far away to see what she was holding. He couldn't possibly have recognized the pendant. He couldn't have. Oh, but what if he had? Chapter 1. Les Aubépines, France, April 1961. It had been a glorious spring, warm enough to swim in April, and the day's damp towels were pegged on the washing line in the garden behind the lovely old French farmhouse, the place where I'd spent my last 10 summers with the Laurent family. Bicycles were stacked against the back wall, and tennis rackets and balls were heaped by the door. The air smelt of the settling dew, of the lovage and lavender that grew wild amongst the pine trees on the dunes, of summer's approach. The beach stretched pale, the waves frilled with silver as they tumbled and rolled onto the sand, and the sea beyond wrinkled and shifted, moonlight sliding over its surface like oil in a pan. We were wrapped in cardigans, Viviane and I, sitting in the hollow of the dunes. The sand that had been warm earlier was cold now beneath our bare feet. The child was unusually quiet. She wrote her name in the sand with her finger, and then took a handful and trickled it over the letters until the word disappeared. She moved closer and rested her head on my shoulder. I put my arm around her and pulled her into me. We settled into the warmth of each other, as we always did, as we had done for all of her life. I had never felt such love for anyone, and I'd never felt such sadness either. I had always believed that I would never have to leave her. I thought we would be together, always. "What time were you going tomorrow?" she asked. "After breakfast." "I wish you weren't going." "Oh, Vivi, so do I." I couldn't tell Viviane how I was dreading the impending separation from her and from her parents, Julia and Alain. I could not explain that I didn't know how I would muster the strength to tear myself away from the family I had loved so deeply for 10 years, ever since Vivi was a baby. Instead, I rested my cheek against the top of her head and breathed in the salty smell of her hair, committing the moment to memory so it would be there when I needed it later, when I was alone. "Why do you have to go?" Viviane whispered. "I've told you, sweetheart. My grandmother is ill, and my father needs me at home. There isn't anyone else to help him." "And what about me? What will happen to me?" "Oh, my darling, you'll carry on growing up, and you will become cleverer and better and stronger. Your dear mother and father will look after you, and I'll write to you, and you'll write to me, and it will be almost as if we were still together. You'll see, it will be almost the same." "It won't be the same at all." Viviane picked up a twig and dug the point of it into the sand. She concentrated on this for a moment and then added, "At least I'll still have Emily."